Hello and welcome back to the Yogi's Pod. We'll get straight to the question. Namaskaram Dharmitra. Maybe I can call myself another fellow seeker. I honestly don't really know why I'm writing this email to you. I have been thinking of writing you one, but whenever I think, all I get is confusion and can't start. So I'm writing this without making up anything in my mind. I don't know what I'm going through. I can't classify this. I don't know if this is depression or something else. I just can't find any words to this. I'm a student and kind of trapped here with my family. Then he goes on to mention particular details. Maybe I would have not written this email to you if I had got a chance to visit the ashram, but till then all I have is the Shambhavi Mahamudra Kriya. I started doing Shambhavi thinking of repairing my life. Had huge expectations and as expected it failed. My life broke like never before. Somewhere I felt glad that I got a chance to grow now. I have nothing to lose, but then what's the point of growing? For what am I putting so much effort? What fruit am I working for when I lost everything? Why can't I just end everything? And when people claim that spirituality shows more life, I already have all the more expectations from this. What if it's broken again? Kabir. So Kabir, thanks for writing to me. And I do like this kind of spontaneous nature of your writing. I mean, I don't like it when it's gibberish, but I like it when it leads to new unfound places and questions within us. Like I felt it did with your email. And this is how I write for a lot of my more, for lack of a better word, the artistic works like the Case Against Enlightenment. I wrote the narration of that video in a foreign land, traveling solo, like I most often do. And then I write as I walk, aimlessly. But I'm looking for something, but I do not know what it is when I set out for it. But I do know what I'm looking for when I actually stumble upon it. And then there is no mistaking it. And it only makes sense to me. It certainly seems silly to other people, but as naive and silly my ways seemingly are, and as whimsical and aimless my actions are, I think sometimes only I know what the path which lays behind me has served. How do I explain the luxury and joy of being spontaneous? It's self-serving, but not in an egotistical way. I mean, the world and the society and the people I know will be fine when I'm gone. And they will be fine if I don't participate for a bit. It's of very little consequence really if I go MIA for a couple of hours sometimes, a few days, a few weeks maybe. But nevertheless, I can afford this for myself. I don't know how much time you can afford for yourself because I know plenty of rich folk who are very poor in this regard. I tell them, what use is your big business empire if you can't even afford free time for yourself? But to each their own. Now, what I like to do, I like to just walk off with my phone on low battery if I carry my phone at all. And I will just walk for miles and miles. And I walk till a point where I'm physically exhausted, sweaty, and I have aching ankles and feet. But I have so much fun doing this. It pays sometimes to just wander off aimlessly without a grand sense of purpose and just get lost somewhere. Then obviously I have to get back somehow, and I always find someone kind enough to point me the way. I think it works to my benefit when I don't take things too seriously, because you have to be playful about these things. Leela, or playfulness, is a very high level of intelligence. As a particular yogi has shown us, it's a vibe. It's a mode, it's a state through which we navigate through life. I see this teaching holding true all the way across, all the way through one's entire spiritual journey. Because look around you. This mad place demands you go through it playfully. I don't see any other option, to be honest. So I have adopted it personally and I don't take my own spiritual growth too seriously. To hanker for growth, the graph must keep going up and up and up forever. If it's a sales target, I get it. But to see your own life like that, too utilitarian and a unidimensional way of looking at life. Let the productivity people run on their little hamster wheels. Let them run. What are you going to make out of your spiritual growth? Achar daloge enlightenment ka? See, I let the overachieving, ambitious types to run their rat races. I'm busy happily losing myself and I'm getting lost here. And I'm sorry if you thought I was going somewhere with this. I was answering the same way you asked the question in. So you're good. Now coming back to your email, you say, I started doing Shambhavi thinking of repairing my life. Had huge expectations and as expected, it failed. Expectations are such a surefire way to be let down, isn't it? I have been disappointed every time I have had one. So I try not to have expectations now, especially when it comes to my meditations or spiritual practices, because expectations will really offset its real purpose and limit all the good stuff. So please give up your expectations in this one avenue of life, your spiritual quest at least, if not everywhere else. There is no such thing as a good meditation or a bad meditation. You people sound really silly to me, especially when you say you've had a great, enlightening, incredible experience of spirituality in your meditation. Most of the times it sounds silly, I'm sorry. Next you say, my life broke like never before. The number of times I have had to go through this myself, I can't tell you. This experience is not unique to you. We are pretty much in the same boat. But you should become used to being broken and rebuilding yourself, because this is part of the game. Next, what's the point of growing? Well, try staying stagnant. It sucks more. For what am I putting so much effort? I don't know. Put in less. Nobody is auditing you on the spiritual path but yourself. So adjust accordingly. What fruit am I working for when I lost everything? I don't have a clue. Why can't I just end everything? Well, if that were a solution, don't you think us spiritual nuts would have considered it by now? See, I'm very surgical and very precise in my approach. So I have no qualms about such things. I have a very neutral view of such issues, believe me. But the thing is, and sorry to break this to you, unfortunately or fortunately, this isn't the way out. If you have the capability to process this intellectually at least, which I'm hoping by the coherence in your email and the kind of people I hope are watching my videos, I'm saying if intellectually you approach all of what they say, the yogic sciences and the sages and all, which include the cycle of birth and death and the beyond, we know that the whole spiritual process is to spin off this wheel of samsara, the cyclical natures. This ride which goes up and down and round and has its thrills and chills, and we want off it. When the wise ones went so far beyond and above to see from afar, to watch all of this happen, and they come back down to help us, and now they're amidst us on this same rickety ride, I, for one, even with my lack of trust and belief on anyone, including the awakened, I take their word for it. Just this one thing, not others. And I have my own personal insight into this, but it's a bit premature for me to say anything on my own. So let's take their word for it. And after all that they have been through, and to say that they would not have it any other way, is a convincing enough argument for me to know that ending it physically is not the solution to anything, first, and it's not my life to take. What we are interested in from a spiritual context is to truly die, not in a physical sense, but in a more real and true sense, which means to die to everything which we were previously and enter into the new moment as if we are experiencing it for the first time. See, physically, on a cellular level, we are anyways dying. Millions of cells dying in our body every moment, and they are replaced by millions of new ones. So it makes no sense to damage this whole organism in any way which allows us to experience this life. Now, to experience every moment as new, without the layers of the past distorting your perspective, that's the point of spiritual practices. So I would suggest to you is, let's see what's in store. Let's wait another day. The one singular truth you all know, all of you who are watching this, think what it is. One universal and fundamental truth of life. Think. You don't need to be enlightened to know that all experiences are temporary. Experience is a function of time. We exist in time. So as an experience starts, you can be assured it will end. I think you're tired of walking. So rest for the night. Keep your burdens of growth aside and rest for a while. All of this is entertainment. We can resume the show when we want, take it as per our own pace as we wish. Eventually, we have to step off the stage anyway. Drama you can end before that also if you want. But it's possible the drama has burnt you out a little. It happens to the best of us. So rest a little, maybe under the shade of a tree. Being in nature helps. And we may have a fresh new perspective tomorrow. Life has a way of surprising us, doesn't it? And after you rest and free yourself from these high spiritual expectations, you can consider looking at what is this kind of depressive state pointing at? What is it indicating about your life? What aspects of your reality are not in alignment with your mental projections? Maybe instead of focusing on your current definitions of spiritual growth, you need to focus on what brings your heart joy. Not talking about instant gratification here necessarily, but what brings your heart joy and fulfillment is the real way to your spiritual growth than what your mental projection of spiritual growth is. So what is supposed to add more joy and fulfillment to your life is now making you miserable, right? So your old definitions are rigid and making you sad. So all you need is a new perspective on the fundamentals of your life. So apart from addressing these questions, I will give you a few assignments to do. All right? So you can further deepen these aspects within you. First, go hug one person who has had some positive impact in your life. Your mother or your father, if you have been fed that is positive enough, or a friend maybe, anyone. Let them think you're weird. It's all right, it doesn't matter. Just hug them. Second, go uplift someone who has complained to you in recent times about anything happening in their life. Inspire them genuinely to see the positive in themselves and their situation and their capacity to overcome that situation if you can manage it. Third, Go feed someone who has been less fortunate than you, materially at least. Just buy a whole meal, burger and fries or fruits and vegetables, whatever, to someone in need. There are homeless people and people in need almost everywhere on the planet right now. And don't underestimate the power of these simple tasks. This is a lesson in gratitude. I know most people want a third eye opening, kundalini rising type of sadhana. But the highest spiritual work is very simple actually. Do it sincerely, like it is your sadhana, without any expectations. And then you see if it has impacted your sense of spiritual growth or not. You can report after your completion of these tasks in the comment section of this video, or just share your experience with anyone. This bit is optional, but doing it is not. And if you don't do it, don't complain. Not to me nor anyone else. You have to be capable of some conscious action to change your situation, right? If it doesn't work, it's different. Then also you let me know. But if you do this with the right sense, you will start blessing these depressive moods also, because they have a way of bringing our awareness to certain aspects of our life. They are necessary sometimes to deepen and humble you, and to open you up to new ways of living. There is a profoundness in sadness, and the realization of human suffering has a huge role to play in our spiritual growth, especially how we navigate ourselves through the suffering. Will this cure depression? Probably not, although a lot of research is coming up on the benefits of gratitude, but this should not be taken as a substitute for medical help. And just because you're spiritual doesn't mean you don't have a mind. And if you have a mind, you can consider to use the support of a mental health professional when needed. If you don't have one, get in touch. I can recommend you a few. Stay in touch, Kabir, and I will be waiting for a detailed report of this assignment from you. Take care and see you in the next one.
Don't give up. Don't give up. Oh, love. In sickness or health, for richer, for poor.